Jeff, you called the one in Invercargill, as you said. Highlanders 43-35 over the Force. They got their win, but the Force didn't go away.
No, it's been a good weekend in Invercargill. It was great to see Super Rugby back at Rugby Park for the first time in 4 odd years. A good crowd came out. The weather closed in somewhat, but in the end, I think, despite the fact that 11 tries were scored, I think Billy Harmon said it best at the end. He was questioned as to whether, he was upset that they leaked a couple of tries in the last few minutes, and he said, well, we just got the win, and that was all they needed to do in the end, just to get a win. They lost down in Brazil before the warm-up was completed, which was just devastating. I mean, they've already lost 14-odd players. Fabian Holland and Andrew Makaleo left the field during the game. I mean, their locking department has been absolute. I mean, Tom Donnelly's probably going to come back and play lock, let's be honest. I mean, they've lost so many players. It wouldn't surprise me. Ben Smith's probably going to get the boots on and play again. So the fact that, they've lost, half of their squad, really, and to come out and put a performance on against a Force side that does contain a few wallabies, I thought was good for them, and they'll build from here. They've got the Drua next week at Forsyth Bar Stadium in Dunedin. So the only way really is, I think I said at the start of the game, the only way for the Highlanders is up. They blooded a few new players. Cam Miller, albeit they only got a couple of minutes, came on. Ollie Haig and Finn Hurley as well. So, look, not all is lost for the Highlanders. I mean, they had a tough start to the season, Blues, Crusaders, Chiefs. They've got a win on the board. They've got an opportunity next weekend against a fairly unpredictable Drua side at home in Dunedin. So, you know what it's like, Smithy. It's just a momentum game. You start winning, becomes a habit. They'll start getting players back through the course of the season as well. And I was impressed too. I mean, like Aaron Smith, there's been a lot of pressure placed on his shoulders to sort of turn this team around, but the way some of the sort of more experienced kids in the team played yesterday afternoon, I was impressed.
Hurricanes 34, Waratahs 17. Hurricanes with Ardie back, just a little bit too good.
Yeah, mate, totally different side, and I think that showed. They missed them the other week when Ardie was. Had a suspension, and he just came back, and he was all over them. So I think in the end he was the difference. I'm continued to be impressed by Geordie Barrett. I think he's continuing to grow into that role in the midfield, and I think in a year when the All Blacks probably have the cards against them somewhat with the way that the likes of Ireland and France are playing in the north, and you look at a guy like that, the way he's leading, not just the way he's playing, but I think the composure he's showing as a young man. I think he's really growing into his game, and I think that's not just encouraging for the Hurricanes, but that's certainly encouraging for the All Blacks in what is a World Cup year. But no, you're right. I think Kenny Naholo came on 2 tries. He was outstanding as well. Obviously, his brother has pedigree. The family do, but. It's an interesting environment, isn't it, Smithy? You throw a guy. I mean, he was at the Crusaders, Kenny, and then he transfers to the Hurricanes, and all of a sudden, he's playing that kind of rugby with that freedom that we have seen before. I mean, you've seen him a lot at Hawke's Bay. The pedigree he has. So. I think it just needed to be transferred to the right environment. And as I say, alluding to guys like Geordie Barrett, when you're around guys like that, you get the best out of them. So, interesting start to the Hurricanes for the season. A mixed old bag, but having Ardie back was huge. And look, short on for him being, to be honest, player of the season again. So, no, good win for them.
Let's head down to Hamilton, where the Chiefs comfortably beat the Rebels. I think that was predictable that they were going to win there. A little disappointed that they rested some of their superstars in front of their home fans, but I guess Clayton McMillan thinks down the track is more important. Shaun Stevenson, how hot start to the season for him?
Oh, he's been amazing. He's been outstanding, and I think that's another example of a guy who has been he's been building nicely for some time. It's not. It's not the first we've seen of Shaun Stevenson in this kind of form, and I think it all bodes well for men's national calendar as well. I think if you're going to pick someone and Will Jordan's not right, I think the All Blacks have to roll the dice a little bit this year, mate. And you might agree, you might not on some of the selections, but I think when you're not the favourite going into a Rugby World Cup, you kind of have to go, well, let's roll the dice, let's give a guy a go, because I think Shaun Stevenson is not just rolling the dice, he's earned the right to play for the All Blacks, and I think the way he's playing at the moment, I'd have him right in there. He continues to impress with the Chiefs. I mean, the Rebels, perhaps didn't offer the sort of opposition in terms of defence that you would have wanted, but there were wallabies throughout that Rebels side as well, and you look at lots of Reece Hodge and co. So I think the way that they played, although as you say they rested stars, Clayton's picking and choosing his matches to do that, and I think they played really well. But no, I think Shaun Stevenson, expect to see him in a black shirt later on in the year.
SENZ